Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today with a classic WrestleMania V review from back in the day. WrestleMania V took place from the Trump Plaza. They had done WrestleMania 4 and WrestleMania 5 there. It's sort of weird coming from WrestleMania 3 at the Pontiac Silverdome with the 93,000 fans. They go to New Jersey, and in New Jersey you only have 19,000 fans there. But honestly, I think it's one of the most beautiful WrestleMania sets that they ever had. Nothing really, decorative over, where the wrestlers came out of. But I love the fact that, they have the lighting, almost like Christmas light that spans, they droop. And it's just really, really nice. And with all the people in there, even though it's not the biggest WrestleMania, the way that the people are packed in there, they make it look like it's huge, that people really wanted to be there. Of course, Donald Trump on the WrestleMania, oh man, what the heck is that thing called? Where they did like a biography on all of the WrestleManias. It was a documentary. They talked about the fact that Donald Trump thought he could make money by making people come to the Trump Towers and they make them come to Atlantic City. And so they gave a rights fee to the WWE, and they sort of paid them to come there. And they had a lot of cool things going down over there. Like they had a fun run where we saw Mr. Fuji running with the fans. And they made it look like Mr. Fuji ran a 3K in 20 minutes. Mr. Fuji ain't running no 3K in 20 minutes. And plus, they have footage of Mr. Fuji leaving the start line way before they say go. There's no way that guy could have ran a mile in his shape. I just really don't believe it. But for the main event. The main event of this one, of course, would be Randy Savage going up against Hulk Hogan. This is a match that was built up for 2, maybe even 3 years in the making. When Hulk Hogan was really over, Randy Savage got a couple of count-out victories at the Madison Square Garden as well as the Boston Garden back in the day. He was sort of like the one guy who was able to have Hulk Hogan's number even though they were count-out victories, and then they sort of built this up. And then, as Hulk Hogan was going off to make movies at WrestleMania 4 and his feud with Andre the Giant, that sort of got involved at WrestleMania 4 when Andre the Giant got involved in the main event when it was Macho Man Randy Savage going up against Ted DiBiase. Hogan came running down and made the save, which was able to save off Savage to beat DiBiase in order to beat the champion. And of course from there they would go on and sort of have some sort of a union where they would trust each other. But Savage, always in the back of his mind, never really trusted Hulk, never really thought that Hulk was looking out for the best interests of him as champion, always taking the high road where he would be the guy getting the cheers at the end of the night even though Savage was the champion. Savage thought that Hogan was making moves on Miss Elizabeth. And we would see them have some big tag matches. They would headline SummerSlam going up against Ted DiBiase and Andre the Giant. We would see them in the Royal Rumble where Hogan would eliminate Savage on accident and Savage would blow up, but they would shake hands at the end. We would see them at the Survivor Series. I think they won their match, but they might have had a moment in there as well because they kept on building this up that this was going to happen. And once it finally came down on the main event, I believe it was Hogan and Savage going up against, I think it was against the Twin Towers, where Miss Elizabeth took a bump off of the ring and Hogan ended up picking up Miss Elizabeth and running her back. And then in the ring, Savage, who might have won the match, ended up running to the back once it was over. And saying that Hogan walked out on him and that Hogan was trying to make a move on Elizabeth, and then Savage ended up attacking him inside of the trainer's room in the back. This was an awesome match. This was really, really good. Back and forth, you would think that Savage had the match at some points, hitting the big elbows off of the top, but in the end, of course, it was Hogan. From here, we would get into a weird situation. Macho Man would become the king, the Macho King, Randy Savage. And he would, start, going with Sherry and then Hogan, even though, Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth, I think, were married at the time. I don't think they had divorced, yet until like 1990. Hogan started coming out with Miss Elizabeth, making it really weird. She would make sporadic appearances here and there, but I think she was trying to get out of the wrestling business at the time. But this is a great WrestleMania, a really, really good one. Go out of your way and check this one out. WrestleMania 5, you'll have fun.